Hey, Shalom. It's Fallen Yeshua. Welcome again to The Rock. I had a question, and I answered it, but I was asked by this sister, could I do a video? So I'm doing a video for this sister. It's not going to be long, but I hope it's a blessing. And the question that she was asking was about therapy. Should she get therapy? She was on Facebook, and one of the brothers there had made a recommendation that she needs to go and see a therapist. And she asked me my opinion, and I said I disagree. And here's why. Because when I read this book, I don't see therapy. I don't see us going to the world to discuss our issues with people that were trained in a Greco-Roman society. Oftentimes with therapy, it's accompanied with some sort of pharmakia, some sort of antidepressants. But even more so is therapy for what? Because when I read this book, the number one therapist for what we call therapist, I'm not going to use the word therapist, but the person that was there for that wife, for that woman, was her husband. It was her father first, then her husband. In today's terms, we go and we talk to everybody else. Bible says a woman was supposed to go from her father's house to her husband's house. So if you didn't have the father, then I understand. And that would be even much more important for you to have a husband. Excuse me. But as I look around today, I see men, and they're kind of disposable. Men are trying to tell. See, a lot of these men today are they're kind of just transfers from Christianity. Excuse me. Or a lot of men today are parrots. They just tell you what somebody else told them. They didn't test it to see if it was proven, especially men in this faith. When I look at this book, I say this. There is no, I'm struggling with submission. Well, that seems to me that's an obedience issue. If you can't obey your husband, then there's no possible way you could obey the father. It's just simple. The best you could do is obey Yah to the level you obey your husband. Because, obeying your husband is part of your role as a wife. That's not therapy. That's a decision. See, a lot of times we make bad decisions and then we think that we need therapy. And in reality, you just need to make decisions based on the Bible and not your feelings. That's what I was telling the sister. It's not about how you feel. It's about what is right. It's not about, I was listening to this guy on YouTube and that guy on YouTube. Because there's the coaches now. Everybody wants a coach, or everybody wants to be a coach, a life coach, relationship coach. And everybody thinks that they need therapy because you went through a bad relationship. Because you had a bad relationship. And I'm looking at like, I've been through bad relationships. Women are different. Could it possibly be, in this sister's case, it was, that you tie yourself up with men you know you shouldn't have been with, men that didn't have fruit, men that didn't have a vision, men that you knew already it was questionable getting with him, but you made the decision anyways. He showed no fruit. He had no vision. You were looking for the Hebrew Israelite man named Thugalations. You want a part thug, part man in the faith, part gangster, part man in the faith. What happened to just keeping the laws? You see, it's baffling to me that we're always going to the world. That was Israel's problem even in the Maccabees. In 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and 2, they were going to the Greeks. They wanted what the Greeks had. We have so assimilated in this culture that we want exactly what the people in this culture. We talk like them. We think that their answers are our answers, and we're ready to try them. We're ready to pay for them. Sister, the Bible has your answer. And the Bible says, father, husband. Well, I don't have a father. Well, I would say your husband is your that's what he's the one that is the husbandman. He's the nurturer. That's what the word he's supposed to nurture and cherish you. The word nurture means to bring you up to maturity. So you're not brought up to maturity. And because you're not brought up to maturity, you get yourself in bad situations. You get yourself in bad relationships because you have not been brought up to maturity. Well, then you need to stop thinking that you're right. And maybe full submission to that husband. Getting yourself a husband, fully submitting yourself to him is your answer. Well, I don't know how to choose a man. I keep choosing bad ones. I this, I that. You vetting. Vetting is a good way of seeing it what the man's about. Do you have a trusted brother around you, which was what this sister was doing? You have a trusted brother around you that you can trust? Because these things that I keep hearing in the faith, we keep using terms that the world uses. We keep having the same ideas that the world has. And then it turns out that it's different when it happens to us. Because then we're trapped. We're trying to mesh the Bible and what it says with modernism and pagan ideologies and Greek, kappa, beta, kappa, whatever that crap is, all that stuff. That we find ourselves meshing with that. Somebody that was taught by the system that you say is trying to destroy you, but you're going to that person for therapy. You want to go to a woman who has never been married, who does not understand biblical men, patriarchy. You're going to go to her and ask her for advice on how you can overcome this and overcome that and get yourself ready for a husband. When we have the Bible, why is the Bible never good enough? It's never good enough. It has never been good enough for us. Yah's ways have never been good enough for us because the Bible spells it out. It spells it out pretty damn clear. All you have to do is do it. Make the choice to do it. And hey, when you make the choice to do it, there goes all your bad choices in men. When you make the choice to do it, there goes well, what if I don't make him happy? If you make the choice to do what the book says, then there goes the idea of, well, what if I marry a deadbeat? What if he doesn't love me? If you follow what the book says, it'll alleviate that. Even in my mistakes, and I didn't need therapy, I could always trace back when I made bad decisions, even the people that I chose, I could always look at the book and say, I didn't follow what the book said. That's why I found myself in that position. I didn't follow what the book said. That's why I ended up in that position. I didn't follow what the book said. That's why I made that decision. It's our choice. It's our choice. And I won't say I made bad choices. No, I made choices that, they were bad, but they were choices that were made out of zeal and not knowledge. Now, thank the Father, I am making choices on knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and zeal. See, I have to add the understanding at the end. I'm applying the knowledge that I'm learning. See, a lot of people are knowledgeable, but they don't have any applied knowledge, which brings understanding. You can't understand what I'm doing in my gardens back here. Or, you see the garlic, those are just some artichokes. The garlic right here. You can't understand what I'm doing in that. You don't have the understanding until you do it, until you apply the knowledge that you learn. And there's a lot of knowledgeable people, but there's not a whole lot of people that have understanding. There are so few doers. There's a lot of studiers, a lot of pontificators, a lot of people that can theorize and practice medicine on you, but there are very few who know. Since you don't need a therapist, you need a husband. You don't need somebody that's gonna who doesn't care about you, but they're gonna tell you what you can do, and they have no experience in it. Every religion they probably had has failed, and the sad part is a lot of women are going to either thug, game playing dudes for their therapists, players who's gonna tell her how to get a husband, or how to fix herself, or they're going to be. But if you read, or they're going to single women, or people aren't in the faith, but you think that because a person's the same color as you, that they have your well-being in mind. Follow what the book says. If you read the book and follow what the book says, you won't need a therapist. You can save yourself hundreds and thousands of dollars by reading the book and doing what it says. Have somebody you can discuss the book with. But the book has the answers. Most of this therapy has told y'all, and led you all to being more independent. More, I don't need no man. They tell women, go out there. And one sister told me who was going through therapy, yeah, my therapist told me I need to go out there and learn myself. I was like, learn yourself, what does that mean? Well, I have to go experience things. And this therapist was supposedly in the faith. Your therapist told you to go experience things. You know how crazy that is? I think that men don't want experience. And yet you're told the exact thing that men don't want. We don't want a woman who's gone out there and experienced the whole world and is now coming to us broken. I mean, we're husbandmen. We'll do it. Some of us will. But how many men are interested in a woman that's been with 25 different men, that's had her heart broken 8 times, that's traveled the world and done everything that she wants to do, and now I guess the last thing on her bucket list is you. You're being given bad information, sisters, and it's anti-biblical. And so many of you are running to this therapy, running to Ebony, Sister Ebony. When she came, she had some things that she was working through. Do you know how powerful it was to have somebody that loved her, was one with her, and was going to walk her through it? She didn't have to pay me a dime. I invested into her because she was my wife. Now, what you're basically saying is that you want somebody who doesn't care whether you succeed or fail. They care about the money that you're about to pay them. And they're going to tell you the same information they told the last person. Whether it worked or not is irrelevant to them. This is what they read in a book. Written by secular people. When you could go to a book that tells you exactly what to do, you could follow the women of the book. You could follow a Ruth. You could follow a Naomi. What more tragic than a woman who loved her husband, he dies? Look at Abigail's therapy. She was with a nasty, vile, wicked-ass dude. Look at that therapy she went through. It's insane. It's insane that we keep allowing the world into this faith. And now we are adopting the ways of the world just like we did in the book of Maccabees. I'll tell you one of the greatest things you could do. Get married. Raise children. Guide the house. Submit to your husband. But nah. We want to find another way for us to heal ourselves. We need to heal, sisters. You can't heal until you obey what the book says. Until that time, you'll just be circling the drain, waiting to finally get flushed down. And it doesn't have to be like that. Bless y'all. Get back to work. Shalom.